Here we go. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I've explained in my excellent video, The Truth, the Half-Truth and Nowhere Near the Truth, how a narcissist, for the pursuit of the prime aims, will utilize the truth as you understand it. Other instances use the half-truth, and in certain instances use nowhere near the truth, i.e. an out-and-out lie, again in order to get to the prime aims. Where it suits a narcissist to utilize the truth, then that can happen. And so a good example of that is the way that Piers Morgan would talk about Harry's wife's behaviours. He's using the truth of the way that she behaves, but as a narcissist, he's utilising her behaviour for the purposes of asserting control over her and the audience and drawing fuel by way of their reactions. More commonly, a narcissist will utilise a half-truth. Therefore, they'll take something which has an essence or a grain of truth about it, but will embellish it or only provide you with part of the details. And in many instances, the narcissist entirely fabricates something in order to again reach the prime aims. Unaware narcissists do so, believing their lies. Aware narcissists know that they're lying, but simply do not care. In terms of the subject matter, a narcissist could use anything. So, for instance, it might be the case that they've actually suffered a bereavement, and therefore the narcissist uses that bereavement to elicit sympathy from people by way of a pity play. In other instances, nobody has died, and yet the narcissist maintains that their grandma has passed away in order to cause people to feel sorry for them. Whether it's the truth or not, the activity is the same. The truth, or the non-truth, is being used by the narcissist to get to the prime aims. The narcissist can do this in relation to how they look, what they own, how they behave, so on and so forth. And for instance, when it comes to Jada Pinkett Smith, we know that she has utilised her hair loss as a means for eliciting sympathy for the purposes of asserting control over the audience and drawing fuel. It might be the case that she has truly experienced hair loss due to alopecia. Back in March 2022, an article by Shauna Benny explained, Jada Pinkett Smith has been open about her struggle with hair loss due to alopecia. But that doesn't mean her husband Will is okay with people making jokes about her shaved head on national television. In fact, after Chris Rock made a comment about Jada's appearance during the 2022 Oscars, Will went so far as to seemingly slap the comedian on live TV. Despite the drama that ensued, Jada isn't letting her struggle with hair loss stop her from living her best life. The actress and Red Table Talk host took to Instagram in December 2021 to share a video showing off her stunning complexion and offered an update on her hair loss journey. Oversharing of information, lack of boundary recognition, utilisation of condition to elicit sympathy. The 50-year-old, as she was then, suffers from autoimmune disorder alopecia and showed off the new bare patches that she noticed on her scalp. Now, at this point, I can only laugh, she said, as she ran her finger across a bold line patch along the centre of her scalp. Y'all know I've been struggling with alopecia, and just all of a sudden one day, look at this line right here, look at that. With a chuckle, she continued, so it just showed up like that, and this is going to be a little bit more difficult for me to hide, so I thought I'd just share it so y'all are not asking any questions. Alopecia is a condition in which the body attacks its own hair follicles. Your body's natural defences don't recognise your hair as one of the good guys, so your immune system attacks it, said Adam Friedman, MD, an associate professor and chair of dermatology at George Washington University. Although hair loss is quite common, it can take a toll on a person's confidence. Research shows. That's why we applaud Jada for her upbeat attitude and confidence towards embracing her hair loss struggles. Rather than getting upset about the new lines along her scalp, the actress chose to focus on a more positive note. You know Mama's going to put some rhinestones in there. I'm going to make me a little crown. That's what Mama's going to do, she said. Grandiosity. She even wrote about her relationship with the condition in her caption, saying, "Mama's going to have to take it down to the scalp so nobody thinks she's got brain surgery or something. Me and this alopecia are going to be friends, period." The star first opened up about her issues with hair loss in a 2018 episode of the Red Table Talk. "It was terrifying when it first started," said Jada. "I was in the shower one day and just had handfuls of hair in my hands, and I was just like, oh my God, am I going bald?" Accordingly, she brought up the issue of her alopecia and, as a narcissist, utilised it for the purposes of getting to the prime aims. Many people didn't accept that she'd actually got alopecia and instead maintained that in actual fact it was as a consequence of her regularly wearing her hair in braids that she's damaged it and thus it had fallen out. And that's what was actually going on. It's up to you what you believe, but either way, Jada Pinkett Smith utilised her hair loss as a means of drawing attention to herself because she's a narcissist. And yet, after this hair loss that had taken place, what then happens? She appears in an article and on television giving an interview where, lo and behold, she's got her hair back. Now, there are instances, of course, following alopecia that hair can grow back, but it is rather interesting that it has come back and has done so quickly and so evenly, and there doesn't appear to be any sign at all of the alopecia at this current time. It might just be the case that it has regrown after her suffering alopecia, but bearing in mind that she's a narcissist and therefore will play fast and loose with the truth of the matter, and the fact that we know that she wore her hair in braids, and many people, including some eminent experts, did comment on the fact that that was probably more likely to be behind her hair loss, it does appear that there is a sizable suggestion that in actual fact she wasn't experiencing alopecia and just used the hair loss caused by braiding her hair as a means to elicit sympathy, and now isn't bothering about that and is popping up, showing that her hair has come back. And of course, in such circumstances, she's not talking about that. She wants to talk about the fact that she has purportedly been separated from Will Smith for the last 7 years. But it seems that there's likely to be a collateral consequence of the way that she used hair loss. The fact now that she's not focusing on it, everybody can see that her hair has grown back, which will lead many individuals cynically to regard her as not having actually lost it through alopecia in the first place, and that it is an exhibition of her narcissism, saying that it's alopecia in order to elicit sympathy when it's actually not, and then of course it grows back, undermining her claims. You can make your own mind up as to what it is, but bear in mind what Jada Pinkett Smith is and how her narcissism will utilise ailments and complaints about herself to elicit sympathy in order to secure the prime aims. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.